if we were to graph these. Bounded by these, so y is equal e to the x. And y is equal e to the negative x. And then graph. What in the world are my window settings set? This is from -2 to 1. So let me change my window settings. From -2 to 1. There's y1. And there's y2. Find the area of the region bounded by these. And you can make one of these bold. And then graph. There's our first one. Here's our second one. And I'm going to do a window. And change y min to 0. And y max to like 5. So I can see it a little bit better. Okay, there's our first one, y1. And there's y2. Unfortunately, one's above and one's below at different places. So first thing we have to do is we have to find out what this point is right here. It's kind of obvious it's 0, but just to show you, to find out where they intersect, we'll set e to the x is equal to e to the negative x. Well, equality of exponents says that these are both the same number to a power. Remember, e is a number. Then you can cross e's out and set the x equals negative x. Now take that negative x to the left side, becomes a positive x. We got 2x is equal to 0. Divide both sides by 2 and we get x equal to 0. Well, it's pretty obvious. Okay, so we're going to split this up. We're going to go from -2 to 0. And you have to identify which one's above and which one's below. Because the setup is you have your above minus your below. What in the world was that? Let's see which one's bold. Bold is e to the x. Bold. Not bold. No memory. Okay, so if I come here, not bold, this is the e to the negative x is up on top. Minus, and then below, this is e to the x. Plus, from -2, from 0 to 1. 1 because it's bounded by x equals 1. Let's see what's above and below. So from 0 to 1, I see this bold is above this. So e to the x goes first. Minus e to the negative x. Okay, so that's our setup. Now, if we were to break this up, this would be -2 to 0, e to the negative x dx, minus -2 to the 0, e to the x, plus 0 to 1, e to the x, minus 0 to 1, e to the negative x. These e to the negative x's, we have to do u substitution. So you let u equal to your exponent, and du would equal -1 dx. So we need a -1 inside. We have to offset it with a -1 out in front. Now we're going to do the same thing on this one. Now this one, the integral of e to the x is just e to the x from -2 to 0. And this one, the integral of e to the x is e to the x from 0 to 1. And then over here, again, I have a negative out in front, but I'm going to put another -1 out in front. Same rationale as this first one. And then this will be from 0 to 1, and I'll have a negative 1 e to the negative x dx. Now our u substitution. Negative 1, negative 1. Dx, dx, and the negative x here matches the negative x here. So this becomes negative, the integral from negative 2 to 0, e to the u du, minus, and I'll plug 0 in, so we got e to the 0. I'm going to put up parentheses here. This minus has to affect all of this. Minus e to the negative 2 plus, and I'll plug in 1 here, so I got e to the 1 minus e to the 0. Negative negative becomes positive, and this becomes 0 to 1 e to the u du. Lots of e's. So we got negative, and then this integral of e to the u is e to the u from x equals negative 2 to x equals 0, minus e to the 0 is 1, minus e to the negative 2, plus e to the first is e, minus e to the 0 is 1, plus the integral of e to the u is e to the u from x equals 0 to x equals 1. Now we'll plug our u back in. U said was negative x from negative 2 to 0. This minus is going to flip signs, so that's minus 1 plus e to the negative 2 plus e minus 1 plus e, we'll plug our negative x back in from 0 to 1. Okay, and that gives us minus e to the negative 0, plugging 0 in. Okay, now I'm getting lost here in my signs. I'll leave this negative out in front. So that's e to the negative 0 minus e to the negative negative 2. Negative 1 gives me negative 2 plus e to the negative 2 plus e plus e to the negative 1 minus e to the negative 0. Negative 0 is 0, e to the 0 is 1. So we'll have negative 1 minus e to the 2 minus 2 plus e to the negative 2 plus e to the negative 1 minus e to the 0 is 1. That's negative 1 plus e squared minus 2 plus e to the negative 2 plus e to the negative 1 minus 1. Okay, so then we got negative 1, negative 3, negative 4. E squared plus e to the negative 2 plus e to the negative 1. Maybe. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, so negative 4 plus negative 4 plus e squared plus e to the negative 2 plus e plus e to the negative 1. Okay, negative 4 plus e squared plus e to the negative 2 plus e to the first plus e to the negative 1. 6.61. Okay, let's check it. Go back here to my original setup. Go to y equals clear that. And e to the negative x close parentheses, minus e to the x, second trace, choose 7, -2 to 0, 5.52, more or less. 5.52. And let's do this other one now. It's e to the x minus e to the negative x, second trace, choose 7, then 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 1.09 plus 1.09, what is that, 6.61 more or less? We got some rounding errors there, 6.61. So this should be your answer. I don't know how many points the problem was worth, but if it was worth 10 or something, they're very easy under grading, because you're fairly far off. Not being insulting.